Hi friends, my name is Rajesh. I'm your history faculty. Welcome to Rathod's IAS. Friends, today's lecture is about the development of philosophy. Okay, so which were happened in the medieval age. See, this development in philosophy is very important, not only in the perspective of UPSC, that is also very important to realize ourselves. Okay, so but before starting this topic, I just want to give you the inferences behind the rationality regarding this development in philosophy. Why do we need these developments, particularly in the philosophy? Okay, for what purpose? So in order to explain about the purpose, I just want to explain you most importantly the four goals of life. Okay, four goals of life. Clear. So we have, just a minute. Yeah. We have four goals of life. Okay. Yeah. First goal is Artha. Second goal is this Dharma. Third one is Kama. And the last, mostly important, Moksha. Right? So Artha, Dharma, Kama, Moksha. Okay, so Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha sometimes it refers. So these were the four important goals of life. So let me explain you. Artha means it's nothing but the economic prosperity. Dharma means attainment of or regulation of social order. Okay. Next, Kama means sensual pleasure. And Moksha means attaining salvation. Okay, so historians and scholars in our history, both the ancient history and medieval history, have provided the respective documents to attain these four different goals in our life. For example, if we take the concept of documents, okay, which were provided for these four, firstly, Artha was Arthashastra, written by the Chanakya or Kautilya, Arthashastra. Coming to Dharma, we have Dharma Shastras. Okay, and coming to Kama, we have Kama Sutra by Vatsyayana. And Moksha, we have Dharsana philosophy, which consists of 9 different schools, out of which 6 were homogeneous school and the rest 3 were the heterogeneous school. Okay, so Dharsana philosophy. So here the point to be noted is the development in the philosophy, that is the present topic of our discussion, is about attaining this salvation, attaining the moksha, that is about this Dharshana philosophy. Okay, so in order, why there's a need of development in the philosophy? Why do we need the evolution of the philosophy to actually attain the salvation, to attain the moksha, other than the attainment of Artha, Dharma and Kama? Why? Because right from the Buddhism, okay, we have been to the phase of emergence of heterodox religions, and also before the Brahminical religion. Any religion, the final point, okay, that a human being would meet is to attain moksha or nirvana in the case of Buddhism, or kaivalya in the case of Jainism. So there were different paths to attain this moksha or nirvana or kaivalya. Okay, like for example, the erstwhile Brahminical religion have suggested us to devote ourselves or worship to the God, okay, and just to remind the God's name. So till the moksha we attain, okay. Or in case of Buddhism, Buddha has delivered the concept of Ashtangika Marga, that is eightfold path, in order to realize the 4 Arya Sattas or four noble truths. And finally, by following following this eightfold path on the basis of Madhya Marga, a Buddhist follower could attain the nirvana. When coming to the kaivalya, that is Jainism, so a Jainist follower Jaina follower can attain the Kaivalya through acquiring the knowledge through meditation. So these were numerous paths to attain the moksha. So what about the revived Hinduism? Revived Hinduism in the early medieval age that was happened. That was the religious development in the as a part or on the part of Hinduism which was happened. So what about the revised Hinduism talking about? Even the revised Hinduism goal is to attain the moksha. Then what are the different paths it suggests to attain the moksha? So this topic is about the discussion on those various paths which got suggested to attain the moksha. So those various paths have been consolidated under six important schools. So we'll be discussing about those 6 important schools. But before that, I just want to give you 2 inferences. Firstly, I have given you the 4 goals of life. There was a reason behind this classification of 4 goals of life. And there was an interlinking between all these 4 goals of life. And third, most importantly, before getting into the philosophy which was suggested by the revived Hinduism in the medieval age, we need to discuss about the state of other religions, that is the Buddhism and Jainism in the medieval age. And then I can tell you the developments in the Hinduism and how often it led Hinduism to suggest these 6 schools to attain the moksha. So this is my effort here. So here the point is, see, firstly, the reasons for this evolution. See, first reason is the establishment of a stable state system. When this stable state system is looking after the primary or basic things of human being, that is food, clothes, shelter and all, then it is the point of human being to attain the moksha or to attain the salvation. So let me explain you, let me define the moksha here as per the revived Hinduism. It's nothing but liberation from the cycle of birth and rebirth. From the cycle of rebirth, let's say. So the Hinduism says that a person would suffer from the deeds he has done in his early births or in his that current birth. So when a person was successful enough to attain moksha, then only he could liberate from the cycle of rebirth. It means there would be no rebirth. It's nothing but the commingulation of, means merging of self Atma into Brahmatma, that is Jivatma, merging of Jivatma or self-Atman into the Brahmatman. So this is the concept of moksha. From this, a person could liberate himself from the cycle of rebirth so that he can escape from the sufferings which he faces during his lifetime. First reason, that is due to the establishment of state system, this concept of moksha came into the picture, and at the same time there was a clear social division based on Varna system. Right? So this has also opened the channel of this concept called moksha right from the Varna system, which was the Brahminical religion component. It is also talking about the salvation. Where in the Upanishads also we have the references regarding the attainment of moksha. Right, that is liberation from the cycle of rebirth. So basically these 2 important reasons serves as the fundamental basis for the evolution of this moksha concept. And at the same time, what was the relation or common point between these 4 goals? See, we have Artha, Dharma, Kama, Moksha, right? See, both 3 of them, Artha, Dharma and Kama, were a set, and they were concerned with the material world. Material world, not only with the material world, and also the problems they may face out of this. For example, Artha means money. Okay, money gives you the material pleasures. Okay, like whatever you want to buy, you can buy. At the same time, money brings you the problems. At the same time, dharma, upholding the dharma, also is concerned with the material world, where it also brings you the ethical problems. At the same time, kama, it's about the sensual pleasure, okay, of a human being, and it also brings the problems. So what about the moksha? What is the relation between the moksha and the other three? That is artha, kama, dharma. That is, see, moksha is a concept which liberates a human being from the problems created by artha, dharma and kama. So if you want to liberate yourself from the problems which were created by the other three goals of your life, that is dharma, artha, kama, then you need to attain moksha. So in order to attain moksha, what you need? You need the path to attain the moksha. So the development in the philosophy, that is the present concept, that is the discussion over this path, various paths. So these paths, out of the several paths which have been suggested, 6 important paths we have. 6 important paths. That is Sankhya philosophy, the Nyaya philosophy, Vaishyasika philosophy, Purva Meemansa philosophy, Uttara Meemansa philosophy, yoga. So these were the 6 important paths which were suggested in order to attain the moksha. So we will be discussing about those 6 paths. But before that, I just want to give you a clarity over the different religions pertaining in the medieval ages. So let us get into the topic now. Okay. I hope you are clear with why we are discussing this philosophy concept. This philosophy concept is not related to the artha, kama, dharma. It's related to the attainment of moksha in order to liberate ourselves from the problems created by the other 3 goals. So okay, dharma, artha, kama. Clear? So yeah. So the medieval age is marked by the revival of and expansion of Hinduism on one face, and at the same time it also marked the continued decline of Buddhism and Jainism on the second phase. So in the first phase of the coin, the medieval age has witnessed the revival and expansion of the Hinduism in the concept of the Bhagavatism and Vaishnavism. Bhagavatism and Vaishnavism. Okay, which has liberal outlook when compared with its erstwhile religion, that is Brahminical religion. So that was why the Hinduism got expanded at the cost of the existed heterodox sects like Buddhism and Jainism in the medieval age. Clear? So let us discuss about the medieval age Buddhism. The Buddhism was merely confined to Eastern India, especially patronized by the Palas, and after the Palas, even in the Eastern India also, there were no other successive dynasties or kingdoms which patronized the Buddhism. The Palas were the last political power which patronized the Buddhism. Okay. However, Buddhism during this era assumed forms which made it indistinguishable from Hinduism. For example, it assumed the forms like Mahayana, which renounced the basic principles to which the original frame of Buddhism, original form of Buddhism, that is Theravada Buddhism, was based on. Mahayana Buddhism has the relaxing policies or provisions followed by the monks and different nuns of Buddhism. Okay, so this Buddhism, which has conflicted into, it has split into different forms, has made indistinguishable, it has made indifferent, no difference with the Hinduism. So people who finds no difference between the Buddhism and Hinduism, they prefer to be the Hinduism. Okay, so that was the situation of Buddhism, and this was the reason for the decline of Buddhism, where the emergence of Mahayana, which relaxed, which has compromised the very principles of Buddhism, was the reason for the decline of Buddhism in the medieval age. People has found no difference between Buddhism and Hinduism. That was where they have started choosing the Hinduism, which was more liberal in outlook than Buddhism. Clear? Next, let's discuss about the Jainism in the medieval age. Coming to the Jainism in the medieval age, Jainism continued to be popular, especially among the communities where it got the patronage from the Chalukyan rulers of Gujarat, and it was during this time only the famous and magnificent Dilwara temples of Mount Abu were built. Okay, so when compared with the Buddhism, Jainism has stood a better position in the medieval age. What about the Hinduism? So this is the point where we have to come to the discussion, because the topic's discussion rests on the 6 schools of Dharsana philosophy, where these 6 schools were suggested in order to achieve or attain the salvation or moksha. Okay, as per the revived Hindu philosophy. So the Darshana philosophy is nothing but the revived Hindu philosophy in the medieval age, objectified or with an objective to attain the salvation. Clear? Okay, fine. So coming to the Hinduism in medieval age. See, this period is marked by the revival and expansion of Hinduism, that is the medieval age, where the revival and the expansion of Hinduism took many forms. And out of those forms, most importantly, we have two, that is Shaiva and Vishnu. Okay, Shaivites and Vishnuites, Vaishnavites. So both the Shaiva and Vishnu became the chief god, and magnificent temples were built to proclaim their supremacy by different royal dynasties. So royal patronage was high for the propagation of Shaiva as a religion and Vishnu as a religion. So this also ushered an era of cultural synthesis where there was a religion in which both the Shiva and Vishnu were worshipped together. Okay, that's called the cultural synthesis. So a typical and important characteristic feature of this period was the growth of the Bhakti movement, particularly in the South India. So the growth of the Bhakti movement in South India was steered by two important sects of religious saints. One is the Alvars, the other one is Nayanars. Who were these Alvars? Alvars were the worshippers of Vishnu. Then who were the Nayanars? Nayanars were the worshippers of Shiva. Okay, so these Alvars were the worshippers of Vishnu and these Nayanars were the worshippers of Shiva. So coming to the what is the difference, basic difference between these two concepts. See, in Alvar, Bhakti, Bhakti would be the relation between the devotee and Krishna, was often expressed in terms of lover and beloved or mother-child relationship. But when coming to the Nayanar Bhakti, the relationship between the god and the devotee was similar to that between master and slave. So that is the basic difference. Coming to the Alvar, Bhakti would be the relation between the devotee and the god called Krishna, that is on the basis of or on the terms of lover and beloved or mother and child relationship. But when coming to the same concept in the aspect of Nayanar, that is Shaivats, the Bhakti, Nayanar Bhakti, the relationship between the god and the devotee would be on the terms of master and slave. So thus the Nayanars describe themselves as Atyar. What do you mean by Atyar? The servant of the god Shiva. So from the 7th century onwards, the cult of this Bhakti began to dominate the religious life of the South Indians, and these saints played a very important role in order to propagate these different cults among the South Indians. And the word Bhakti, if we talk about the etymology of the word called Bhakti, the word Bhakti comes from the root buzz in Sanskrit, which means to share or participate. So thus the word Bhakta implies one who shares or one who participates in the divine. One who shares or one who participates in the divine. So these saints rejected austerities. Austerities means isolating themselves, and spoke and wrote in local languages such as Tamil and Telugu, which not only made them popular, which not only made these doctrines of Alvars and Nayanars popular, but also this allowed common people to join the Bhakti movement because they were the documents, the writings and the sermons or speeches regarding this Bhakti cult were given in the local languages in the South India like Tamil and Telugu. So this has made the local people to join this Bhakti movement at large. And these saints, both Alvars and Nayanars, went from place to place carrying their message of love and devotion towards the God. So, and coming to the section of Nayanars and Alvars, see, in that community, both the Nayanars and Alvars Both the upper caste and lower caste were present. So Nayanars and Alvars, they belong to both upper caste and lower caste, and they also includes the women saints also. Even though they disregarded the inequalities based on caste, but they did not oppose the caste system. Okay, as such, the Jaina philosophy has opposed the caste system outrightly. Okay, this is the most important. They still upheld the caste system in the society, and they still upheld the Varna order in the society. But they have disregarded the inequalities which were prevailing on the basis of caste. Okay, the Bhakti movement, apart from bringing over many Buddhists and Jainas into the Hindu fold, they won over many tribals as well. So in this way, the lost devotees, because of the limitations in the erstwhile Brahmanical religion, came back into the revived Hindu fold through the instrument called this Bhakti movement. Clear? Steered by two important sections of saints, Alvars and Nayanars. And another popular movement which arose during the 12th century besides the Alvars and Nayanars in the Bhakti movement, it was the Lingayat movement or Veera Shaiva movement. Its founder was Basava and his nephew Channabasava. Both Basava and Channabasava has lived at the court of the king, Kalachuri king of Karnataka. So what was the philosophy of Lingaites? See, basically these Lingaites were the worshippers of Shiva, and they established their faith after bitter disputes with the Jainas. So basically in the Karnataka, who were the Digambaras under the leadership of Bhadrabahu, they got settled in the Karnataka region, right? So it has eventually led to the proliferation of Jaina population over there, where the Jainas has got the bitter experiences in their philosophy and in their belief system. So that was why they started transforming their belief system towards the Shaiva. And these people who started believing the Shaivites, those were called as Lingaites. Okay, so as a part of their philosophy, they strongly opposed the caste system and child marriage and rejected feasts, fasts, pilgrimage and sacrifices. Clear? So the tenets of the Lingaites were the opposition of the caste system, opposition of the child marriage, and opposition of the feasts, fasts, pilgrimage and sacrifices. Clear? And also they supported the widow remarriages. These were the social tenets of Lingayat philosophy. So it is also pertinent to mention the Siddhas. There is another philosophy besides the Lingaites, that is pertaining towards the worship of Shaiva only. That is the Siddhas or Siddhars of Tamil Nadu. Okay, they held contrasting views with Bhakti tradition, although some of their ideologies are considered to have originated during the first Sangam age, because it is of Tamil Nadu, right? Their attitude against idol worship and their stress on yoga and right conduct distinguish them from the Bhakti cult. So what is the basic differences from the tenets of Bhakti cult with the tenets compared with the tenets of this Siddha? That is, these Siddhas were against the idol worship, where the Bhakti cult were in favor of idol worship, and these Siddhas stress on yoga, okay, which led to the evolution of one of the school called yoga, that is Hatha Yoga, Raja Yoga. Okay, we will be discussing in a short while. And besides that, the right conduct, okay, means the right conduct in which the principles encoded in the list of these Siddha was completely different from the Bhakti cult. So this made them distinguished, okay, from the Bhakti cults. Clear? So they believed in the monotheism, believing one God. Monotheism is nothing but belief in one God. Okay, like Islam, Christianity, like that. So in the world as well as in they believe in charity towards men. Okay, the Siddha saints were mostly Shaiva, who professed and practiced an unorthodox type of sadhana, that is spiritual practices, to attain liberation. Okay, that is, the unorthodox type of sadhana includes the concept of yoga. Okay, a Siddha obtains yogic powers called Siddhi by constant practice of certain yogic disciplines and tapasya. Clear? So through this he can attain the liberation. Fine. Next, along with that, they also use rasayanas, okay, which were substances that were said to transform the body to make it potentially deathless, and a particular type of pranayama was also practiced, that is the breathing exercise, breathing practice. Okay, so these Siddhas were also believed to be the founders of Varmam, that is, fondly we will be calling it as Marmakala. It is a kind of martial art, okay, for self-defense, and it is also kind of medical treatment simultaneously. Clear? Varmam are specific points located in the body, human body, which and when pressed in different ways, they can give various results, such as disabling an attacker in self-defense or balancing a physical condition as an easy first aid medical treatment. Also they can be used. Okay, that's the significance of Varmakala, which was attained from this school, from this sect called Siddha. The Tamil Siddhas were the first to develop Nadi Parthal, that is pulse reading, to identify the origin of diseases. It is also believed that this method was later adopted and used in Ayurveda also. So this is everything about the Siddha. So we have discussed about the trends or developments in the revived Hindu philosophy in the form of the Bhakti cult led by the Nayanars and Alvars, and also the concept of Lingaites in the Karnataka region and Siddhas in the Tamil region. Okay, so these were the development in the various religions in the medieval age. So finally, this revived Hindu philosophy suggests 6 types of schools of philosophy to attain moksha or liberation. So let us discuss about these schools of philosophy now. Okay. Many schools of philosophy came into existence in this period with an objective or with the main subject to attain the moksha or salvation. And these schools of philosophy are called Dharsana schools. Why? Because the philosophy itself is called the Dharshana philosophy. That was why to practice the Dharshana philosophy, the Dharshana schools were established with the main subject or main objective to attain the moksha or salvation. So Hindu philosophy, okay, this is often referred as Hindu philosophy because this philosophy was suggested. Okay, this philosophy was suggested by the revived Hinduism, as we discussed till now. So this Hindu philosophy is generally classified into 6 orthodox or classical schools, that is Astika, and 3 heterodox schools, that is Nastika schools. So now we will be discussing about these 6 Astika schools or orthodox schools, and later on I will be taking one of the important example from the 3 heterodox schools, that is Charavarka school. Okay, so let us get into the topic. Okay, so these Astika and Nastika schools, what makes it different? What is the point of difference between these two set of philosophies? It was the point based on the recognition of the Vedas. The school which recognize the Veda, it comes under the orthodox or classical schools or Astika school. The school which outrightly reject the concept of Veda, then they comes under the Nastika schools. So let us discuss about the orthodox schools first. The Orthodox schools recognize the authority of the Vedas, while then heterodox schools or Nastikas do not believe in the authority of the Vedas. Out of these 9 systems, 8 are aesthetic. Okay, 8 are atheistic, as there is no place for God in them, and only the Uttara Meemansa, okay, Uttara Meemansa, that is also called as Vedanta, has a place for God in it. See, it is the concept to be noted is recognition of Vedas is different from the giving a place or giving attributes to God. That's entirely different. Okay, so see, we have 9. Out of 9, we have 6 which believe in Vedas, which recognizes the Vedas. We have 3 heterodox schools which doesn't uphold the authority of the Vedas. And this is one classification. And there is another classification on the 9. That is, we have 8 schools which doesn't give place to the concept of Veda, the God. Okay, but there is one school, that is Uttara Meemansa school, often referred as Vedanta school. Okay, out of which 6 we will be discussing, that has a place for God. Okay, so by the beginning of Christian era, 6 prominent schools of philosophy, that is Shad Darshan, developed. What are those? Let us discuss. Firstly, Samkhya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaishyasika, Purva Meemansa and Uttara Meemansa. Okay, that is often referred as Vedanta. Clear? Sankhya philosophy first. See, Sankhya literally means count. Okay, and it is the oldest school of philosophy founded by Kapila. So Kapila was the founder of Sankhya philosophy. So according to the school, a person can attain salvation through the acquisition of real knowledge and his participation in the life cycle can be ended forever when he acquired the real knowledge on real knowledge, that is to that he can attain salvation. But the point is, how can he attain the real knowledge? What are the instruments? Okay, what are the channels to attain the real knowledge? Here's the point. It has emphasized that it is the self knowledge that leads to the liberation and not the any exterior influence or agent. For example, say when you know yourself, that's called when you attain the self knowledge or self introspect, okay, that terms to be the real knowledge. No need of having the knowledge over the exterior or material material aspects of the world. Okay, you need to explore yourself, and you need to have the self knowledge. You need to every time practice the self introspection, and that terms to be the real knowledge, guys. Okay, so when you attain this real knowledge by knowing yourself completely, then you can attain the salvation, where your participation in the life cycle can be ended forever. Clear? Self knowledge can be attained by the means of the concentration and meditation. This knowledge can be acquired through pratyaksha, that is perception. Okay, that is experience. Okay, perceptions. Anumanya, inference, thinking over that, using your logical inferences over the information what you sense with your body organs. Finally, shabda, that is hearing. So in this way, the knowledge can be acquired through these three means. Sankhya forms the philosophical basis for yoga. Okay, because this was yoga is also another type of schools which suggests the ways to attain the liberation, just like Sankhya. But Sankhya forms the philosophical basis for yoga, where I told you that the Sankhya through concentration and meditation, which are the chief components of yoga, through these two components, okay, the self knowledge can be attained. When you attain the self knowledge according to Sankhya philosophy, you can attain salvation. That is the relation between the Sankhya and yoga. Clear? According to this philosophy, the presence of divine agency is not essential for the creation of the world, as the world owes its creation and evolution more to the nature or prakriti than to God. But eventually, the Sankhya philosophy in its later stage, it has left its scientific and rational thought, and it has succumbed to the acceptance of God as the origin point for this creation and evolution of the world. It's a different story. Okay, so next after Sankhya, let's discuss about the yoga now. Yoga. See, the yoga school was founded by Patanjali, where the yoga represents a practical path for the realization of the self based on the method of physical and mental discipline. See, there is a concurrent point of yoga and Sankhya. Yoga and Sankhya. What was that? The common point was realization of yourself. Realization of self. It is the differentiation on the method of how to realize of self. That is the concept. That Sankhya, propagates, propounded that it is the concentration and meditation through which you can realize yourself. Yoga proposes the methods of different physical and mental exercises. Those are called as asanas. Okay, through which you can attain the liberation by realizing yourself. So the common point between the Sankhya and yoga is realization of self. But the final objective of all these schools is to attain the salvation only. Okay, we are talking about the fourth goal of life, that is the salvation or moksha. Okay, so both the methods of physical and mental discipline includes the practice of control over pleasure, senses and bodily organs, and basically this is the central theme of this school. In order to attain salvation, physical exercises in various asanas, that is postures, and pranayama, that is breathing exercise, are prescribed. And it is also believed that through these exercises the mind gets diverted from worldly matters and achieves concentration. This worldly matters consists of dharma, artha, kama. Finally, these different asanas help us to achieve concentration, and finally it makes us to realize ourselves and to attain the liberation from the cycle of rebirth, that is called moksha. Yoga describes energy flowing through energy channels in different parts of our body, concentrated in chakras. We have 8 chakras in our body. Okay, so this yoga school of discipline, okay, was further classified into 2 important schools. One is Hatha Yoga and the other one is Raja Yoga. Hatha Yoga is about creating a body which is so that you will not feel that your body is a hurdle in your life. What is the meaning of feeling the body as a hurdle? See, whatever the problems we experience from the other 3 goals, that is the dharma, artha, kama, will be experienced by our body itself only, right? So here the yoga proposes to relieve our body from the experiences of those problems created by those 3 goals, dharma, artha, kama. So for this purpose, Hatha Yoga proposes that you need to prepare your body through the asanas so that your body will not get succumbed to the experience of such problems created by the dharma, artha, kama. And in the concept of preparing your body in such a way that you will not feel that your body is a hurdle in attaining your ultimate goal of moksha. Okay, so that is the concept of Hatha Yoga. So the body becomes a stepping stone, not a hurdle. Means it will still, the body will help you out in order to attain your goal of moksha, and it will not act as a hurdle for attaining your goal in one's progress. Yeah. So Raja Yoga, it is also called as classical yoga and Asthana Yoga. Okay, so it is a form of meditation which enriches that mind, and your mind will be trained to stay focused at one point under this Raja Yoga. One of the great proponent of Raja Yoga was the Patanjali. It aims that the claiming of the mind using a succession of steps, ultimately culminating in samadhi. That is nothing but the practice. Means the proponent of the Raja Yoga was the true virtue of achieving the high degree of concentration in such a way that it is equally, when you are in the Raja Yoga, when you are practicing the high degree of Raja Yoga, attaining the high degree of concentration, you are equal to the dead body in samadhi. Clear? Yoga does not require belief in God, although such a belief is accepted as a help in initial stages of mental concentration and control of mind only, but the yoga school is a rational in its outlook. It doesn't believe in the God. It thus admits the existence of God as a teacher and guide. It gives the place to the God as it gives the place of teacher and guide to the God actually. It doesn't believe that God is supreme belief or supreme one in which we have to rest our belief system on. Okay. Next type of school, the third type of school, that is the Nyaya, also known as the school of analysis. The school of analysis. Clear? It was developed as a system of logic and inference by Gautama. So what are its main principles? Its main principles are mentioned in the Nyaya Sutras, okay, given by the scholars. And Nyaya philosophy believes in the supremacy of logic, and it adopts a scientific approach, as it holds that nothing is acceptable unless that something is in accordance with reason and experience. It's a kind of rational thought, enlightened principles. So Nyaya states that the world is real, and philosophy does not follow the monist view, means believing in other world. Okay, the world is real. It rejects the practice of believing the imaginary world which is consisted of the God. The school advocates the theory of pramanas, that is proofs, which are means of obtaining true knowledge. So even the Nyaya school is also proposes the acquisition of true knowledge or real knowledge is the path to liberate ourselves from the cycle of rebirth, means to achieve the salvation or moksha. And it is the point of how often this kind of school, that is Nyaya school, is proposing the path of obtaining the true knowledge. Because the Sankhya and the Yoga says that it was the true concentration and meditation and Yoga Asanas respectively will make us to acquire the real knowledge, that is knowledge about ourselves. But what about the Nyaya? What is the path suggested by the Nyaya school of philosophy to obtain the true knowledge? Okay, which helps us to attain the salvation. According to it, the pradhana pramana or principal means of obtaining knowledge is pratyaksha pramana, that is knowledge acquired through the 5 senses. Through the 5 senses, we have 5 senses, right? So when your 5 body organs or 5 senses, okay, feels or uphold that particular information or knowledge, then that knowledge will be considered into this true knowledge concept. Okay, so there are also the other pramanas like anumana, that is inference through which we can obtain true knowledge, and shabda pramana is statement of an expert which we hear. Okay, through these also we can acquire the true knowledge. Clear? Many later philosophies claim to belong to this school. For instance, we have the Vatsyayan who wrote the Nyaya Bhashya, Udayan who wrote the Kusumanjali, and so on. So these works also based on this Nyaya philosophy only. This is about the Nyaya philosophy. Ultimately it says that if you want to attain salvation, you need to acquire true knowledge through the pradhana pramana or principal means of obtaining knowledge by acquiring the knowledge which you can sense through your five senses, which you can experience through your five senses, that is the pratyaksha pramana. Apart from that, we have anumana and shabda pramana, okay, so that we can acquire the true knowledge. And on the basis of this Nyaya school, the works like Nyaya Bhashya by Vatsyayan and Kusumanjali by Udayan were based on. Okay, let's discuss about the fourth important school, that is Vaishyasika school of philosophy, where the school propounded by the Kannada gives most importance to discussion of dravya or material elements. Dravya or material elements. What do you mean by these material elements? It is nothing but the earth, water, fire, air and ether or sky, that is Panchabhuta. In simple we say the material elements are Panchabhuta. So the Vaishyasika school gives most importance to these five natural aggregates. Okay, those are the earth, water, fire, air and ether or sky. Clear? This school propounded the atomic theory and can be marked as the beginning of the physics in ancient India, because it studies these five aggregates, which gives us the logic behind the interrelation between these five aggregates, that is earth, water, fire, air and ether or sky. Okay, so the logic which combines or which correlate these all five aggregates gave rise to new objects which we studied as per the atomic theory. Okay, in the concept. So this school signifies a realistic and objective way of looking at the universe with scientific rationality. So this is about the Vaishyasika school. Next, let's discuss about the Meemansa. It is also called as Purva Meemansa, which literally signifies the art of reasoning and interpretation. Okay, and according to this Meemansa, the Vedas contain the eternal truth. So it upheld the authority of Vedas. And in order to attain salvation, what is the path? It strongly recommends the performance of yajna, that is Vedic sacrifices as per the Vedas, which needed the service of the priests, and legitimates the social distance between the different varnas as per the varna system. So it upholds the legitimacy of the priests and also the varna order, because it says that if you want to attain the salvation, you need to perform the Vedic sacrifices or yajnas, in which service of priests are important or necessary particularly. So this philosophy relies on Brahmanas and the Samhitas of the Vedas. It is often argued that the Brahmanas wanted to maintain their ritual authority and preserve social hierarchy through the propagation of Meemansa, because it favors the Brahmins and their existence in the society and their uphold of their legitimacy in the society. So that was why it got the patronage. This Purva Meemansa philosophy got the patronage from the Brahmins. Clear? Next, after that, let's discuss about the Vedanta. It is also known as Uttara Meemansa, which is the only school of thought which has the place for God. Vedanta signifies the end of Vedas, and this philosophy was traced back to Upanishad, because the Upanishads contains the verses regarding this Vedanta. Okay, and those were related to the theory of karma. So the theory of karma is the important feature of this school, which signifies that in his present birth, a person has to bear the consequences of his actions performed in his previous birth. That's the concept of karma theory. And the Brahma Sutra work of Bhadrayana, which was compiled in 2nd century BC, have the basis on this Uttara Meemansa or the Vedanta. And there are three sub-branches for Vedanta, where firstly it was advocated by the Shankaracharya, that is the absolute monoism or Advaitha or non-dualist Vedanta of Shankaracharya, in which Shankaracharya was the major proponent of Vedanta in the 9th century, but his concept is different, where he considers that Brahman to be without any attributes, and he also considers that knowledge or jnana to be the chief means of salvation. Okay, so no need of yajna, performing of yajnas by giving due importance to the Brahmins. No need of giving any attributes to the Brahmins, but it was through the acquisition of knowledge or jnana would be acting as the chief means of salvation. Next, Vishishta Advaita, okay, or qualified monism or non-dualism given by Ramanujacharya. According to the Ramanujacharya, where he identified the Brahman with Vishnu, which he gave utmost importance to the Brahman. Ramanuja wrote a commentary on Vedanta in the 12th century, and in that commentary he combined Vaishnava Bhakti with Upanishadic monoism, where he combined the elements of Upanishad verses into the Vaishnava Bhakti and uphold the Brahmana with the Vishnu. A Brahmana is nothing but a Vishnu. So he told that road to salvation lies in practicing devotion or loving faith over the God. Okay, so that is the Advaita philosophy given by the Ramanujacharya. Okay, Vishishta Advaita philosophy. Next, the third one is Dvaita of Madhvacharya. According to the Advaita of Madhvacharya, okay, he considers God to be completely different from the individual soul and the world. Okay, there were some other facts of Dvaita, where the Dvaita or dualist school of Hindu Vedanta philosophy originated in 13th century South India with Sri Madhvacharya, that is Madhva. Madhva wrote commentaries on the Brahma Sutra and Upanishads, and a work called Bharatata Parinaya, Bharatata Nirnaya. Okay, Bharatata Nirnaya was based on Puranas and the epics. Okay, so the work called Bharatata Tatparyanaya was written by the Madhvacharya, which was based on the Puranas and the epics. Okay, so he also asserts that the individual soul has many defects, but it can attain near perfection by worshipping God. So he upholds the concept of worshipping of God, and according to him, the relationship between the God and the soul can be best be described as a relationship between the master and the servant, just like Lingaites. Okay, so this is everything about the heterodox sect of schools which believes in uphold of Vedas and God, like that is Uttara Meemansa. Okay, let's discuss about the heterodox school of Indian philosophy, which doesn't uphold the authority of the Vedas and which doesn't allow the God in its philosophy. That was the heterodox schools or unorthodox school, that is not Nastika school of Indian philosophy. They do not accept the authority of the Vedas, and the following are the heterodox schools. Firstly, the Charavarka, often referred as Lokayata. Its founder was Charavarka, the author of Bahaspatyar Sutras in the final centuries before the Common Era. It is also characterized as a materialistic and atheist school of thought because this school has given utmost importance to the material elements, that is Dhanartha Kama, rather than attaining the moksha. So you have a life which is full of materialist, that is life within the world called materialistic world, and you are in need of experiencing all these materials though the problems comes out. Okay, that is the theme of this school. Lokayata refers to ideas derived from common people, and it underlines the importance of intimate contact with the world, that is materialistic world, while showing a lack of belief in the other world, just like as the other schools. Okay, orthodox schools or classical schools believes in other world. He has rejected that concept. It also accepted the direct perception using human senses as the surest method to prove anything wrong or correct, means anything truth or nothing. Okay, so it thus recognized the earth, water, fire and air, but not either or sky, as it cannot be known by perception, because you can experience the touch with earth, water, fire and air, but you cannot sense the sky, right? So that was why he did not accepted the concept of either. Okay, the Charavarka insisted on joyful living, and as it is also opposed to the quest for spiritual salvation. Okay, so Charavarka insisted the joyful living where you experience all the material benefits and problems, and at the same time it is also opposed to the quest for the spiritual salvation, believing in other world. He also denied the existence of any divine or supernatural agencies, and he accepted the existence or reality of only those things which could be experienced by the human senses and organs. This is the main theme. Okay, thus it clearly shows there was a clear lack of faith in the existence of Brahman and God by this Charavarka school. Okay, according to Charavarka, the Brahmanas manufactured rituals for acquiring dakshina or gifts. This was the perception regarding the Brahmanas in the Lokayata or Charavarka school. Okay, so this is everything about different schools of thoughts in order to attain the highest point of liberation, that is moksha, and also the unorthodox sect of schools also. Okay, we have another set of unorthodox school besides Charavarka, that is Ajivaka also. Okay, yeah. So now let's look at the questions from the last year prelims. You can have the look over this questions from the last year prelims. So try to solve these questions because they were asked in the last year prelims, previous year's questions they were. Followed by a mains question. Try to address this question. Describe in detail the different schools of Indian philosophy, emphasizing on the branches of Vedanta schools. Okay, so try to attend this question so that you can be sure of this concept, where this concept is significant because like UPSC treats this as the one of its favorite concept in the medieval history to pose the questions for you. Okay, so I hope that you are clear with this concept. Let's meet with the another concept in the upcoming class. Till then, stay tuned to Rathor's IAS. Thank you.